To be quite honest, someone who is going to ghost you, pretend as if you don't exist, pretend as if you were never a part of their life, them doing that is not your fault. You need to look internally. Like you said, he did some stuff for you and you reciprocated. So it seems as though the relationship was equal. But for some reason, he just went cold turkey. Some men do that. All right? So, and don't bother yourself with that. Like I tell you, ladies, it's better to just focus on you, focus on your likes, focus on your dislike, and try to find out what is fulfilling in this
Hello
world.
and welcome to Kitchen Table Advice. My name is Paula and I am the host of this podcast. This podcast is a place where you can ask for any advice you want. It can be relationship, both platonic or romantic, career advice, or life advice. I wanted to create a space where people could ask questions without fear of rejection. I can't guarantee it'll be good advice, but I can guarantee there'll be no shame on my end. Your name will be anonymous and your identity will always be kept a secret. This is not professional advice, and I am not a licensed therapist or psychologist, and you are under no obligation to take this advice. Just think of this as advice you would get from a close friend on a kitchen table. So, let's begin.
Listeners, we are back, and we're having some audio difficulties today. I forgot my adapter, so I'm not using my mic. The audio quality might be slightly different, but you're not here for that. So we're just jumping to the first story of the episode, and hopefully this isn't a total train wreck. Alright, so the title is My Boyfriend Has Issues with Anger, and I Don't Know What My Options Are. Here we go. Hi, I'm sorry for the vague title, but as I stated, my boyfriend, a 32-year-old man, has anger issues, and we've been together for 3 years. For context, she's 27. We've been together for 3 years, lived together, have discussed marriage, kids, and etc. And I was planning to start building a family with him. Unfortunately, his anger issues are becoming more of a concern. I also struggle with anger, emotional regulation, anxiety, but I'm on medication and it's fairly manageable. He, however, loses his temper, breaks doors, slams things, yells, screams, and it's only when we fight and he says it's my fault for getting him so mad. Wow. It had been getting better, but for some reason I say it's becoming more of a concern because he's directing his temper at my dog. She's 7 months old. He came home from work to see her chewing on his music equipment and then wouldn't come in when he wanted, so he yelled at her, grabbed her, and shoved her aggressively, which hurt her paw and made her yelp and cower into me after I came in to see what was happening. He stormed inside and went to our room, and I followed after making sure the dog was okay. I asked him what happened, and he just yelled that the dog is stupid, so I told him I understand why he's upset, but don't ever hurt her again. We ended up arguing and he lost his temper, saying he will hurt her if he needs to. He broke our bedroom door, and I told him if he ever lays a hand on one of our pets, he's a piece of ish and we're over and I'll call the cops. I'm sorry I'm venting now. I don't know what to do. I don't want to be with him unless he goes to counseling, specifically for anger management, which he said he will, but still hasn't. I'm very accepting of his outbursts. He's apologetic and pays for what he breaks. And I've had anger issues, so I'm not really scared he'll hurt me. I'm just scared he'll have an outburst and ruin something, but now I'm scared he'll hurt my dog. We have a year lease, still 6 months to go. Not sure what to do. Mainly just need to get this out because I don't want to be with him, but I feel too calm about that. Has anyone had success with a partner in overcoming something like this? Wow, that is a very interesting story, and we'll be back with our advice after this break. We are back, and we are like, there are multiple stuff here. I really don't want to use this story as an example, but it is a perfect example as to how people may get themselves in certain situations. Not saying that this woman intentionally wants to be in this type of situation. She doesn't. She clearly stated she does not want to be with this man if he keeps being angry and keep hurting her dog. Completely understandable. But this is such a difficult advice because obviously from an outsider's perspective, if you're not used to being in this type of situation where your partner is yelling, bashing yourself, screaming, doing all this anger stuff, it's going to catch you off guard. But if this is something that is familiar to you, this is the type of environment you've been around, you seeing this might just be, okay, he's angry, he's upset, but he still loves me. It's like, I don't know. My advice might be a bit biased because I am on the camp of this is absolutely not tolerable. You talk it out with your partner. You're not gonna break anything. I don't care if you pay for it. No, there's some stuff like there's some mementos that even if you break and you get a new one, it's not as sentimental. You can't just go off the handle because you're angry. Like, that is completely unacceptable. But that also comes from the type of environment I've been in, where being angry and just punching into walls is not tolerable. Yes, you can be angry. You might take your time to confront to the person. You might take a time out to cool out stuff and then talk it out with the other person. But you don't just yell and like beat people, break stuff, or shove a dog. Like, it's a dog. It's a 7-month-old dog. It's a baby. The dog doesn't know what she's doing. And it's not an insult, and I understand music equipment can be pretty pricey. So I get why he's angry, but if this is how someone is willing to act with a 7-month-old dog who is not aware of what she's doing, she's just having fun, she happens to see a guitar and starts munching on, the guitar strings, which she shouldn't do. Like, that's already a hazard, by the way. But she's just munching on the guitar strings because she doesn't know any better. I don't trust it. I don't trust myself to have a child with this type of person. It's like, if you're gonna treat a defenseless animal like this, how are you gonna treat a baby who's just yelling and screaming? And then, my gosh, your terrible twos. Everybody yells about the terrible twos, where they just go around and do all type of stuff because they don't know any better. It's just, well, it's a lot. And yeah, this is a lot. But also, this is coming back from what is familiar to you. It seems as though for this woman, being in this type of environment is familiar to her, to the point where she's not really scared for herself, but she's scared he'll hurt the dog. Because the dog is young, the dog doesn't know any better. But, ma'am, I think you should actually be scared for yourself. I think it's reasonable. He's punching the table now. He's punching the wall now. It has evolved to shoving your dog. The next thing he might start shoving. The next time he might start shoving you. I'm just saying. It seems as though it's just progressing over and over again. And I'm so thankful that you have told him that he needs to go to counseling to get his anger in check. I'm thankful you have said that, but you've also stated he hasn't really taken on that initiative. He really hasn't started going to counseling. You place this boundary of, I can no longer be with you if you're going to behave this way. You need to go to counseling. You need to manage your anger. Something needs to be done about this. He listened to you. He said he's willing to go, but he hasn't taken any actual steps or any initiative to actually start going to counseling. So now the ball is in your court. What are you going to do? Are you going to remain in this situation where his anger is just evolving? His emotions are just going unchecked and unbalanced. Are you going to remain in this violent situation? Because it is a violent situation. I know you may not see it as violence, but this is a very violent situation. Are you going to remain in this violent situation, or are you going to leave? Now that the ball is in your court, you stated your boundaries, he's heard them, but still has not taken any steps towards that. So now what are you going to do? Are you going to keep pressuring him to go to counseling? Or are you just going to pack your bags and leave? Like, some type of plan needs to be made. That's what I'm saying. Some type of a plan needs to be made. And And again, like I said, my advice is probably biased because I don't tolerate people doing this around me. So maybe someone who has grown up in a type of environment where people are just angry, and when they're angry they start hitting stuff and hitting walls, might be able to give you a better advice. I really don't know, but it's just like I found this completely unacceptable. Completely unacceptable. No one should have to go through this in their house. For me, it's like the house is a sanctuary. Your house, it's like the world is already chaotic. The one place I do not need chaos is in my house. So whenever you guys send me stuff about your partner's doing this in your house or your partner's doing that, you guys are living together, I'm just like, I'm actually getting stressed just hearing that. But yeah, you need to figure out what to do in this case, in this situation. What are you willing to tolerate? You said the anger doesn't really bother you that much, but you are worried for your dog's safety. So you need to take into consideration that. And another thing, to be quite honest, this is definitely stemming from my own upbringing. I don't really think you can have a, well, you can. You actually can. I'm going to stop myself right there. I think it is possible for you to have a good and fulfilling relationship with a person who has anger issues, but they need to actively, they need to be willing to change. They need to be willing to remedy their anger. They need to find a good outlet for their anger that does not involve breaking stuff. If you need to go to the gym and do some boxing or kickboxing, whatever, do some sport. Like, release that anger in a more productive way that betters your skill, not bashing doors, breaking tables, shoving dogs. Like, come on. A limit has to be drawn somewhere. We need to have boundaries. We need to have limits, and we need to have boundaries for what people are willing to do in our lives. I understand anger is an emotion. Everyone has it. I get angry at times. However, you need to have an outlet for your anger. You can't just go off the handle and then blame someone else talking about they made you angry. Absolutely not. You're not a child. This is a 32-year-old man. This is not a child. Matter of fact, even teenagers, I don't think they should just be, even though they're children, I still don't think they should just hit stuff because they're angry. That's completely unacceptable. What? No. Absolutely not. But something needs to be done about this. And I would not only suggest he goes to therapy, but also he goes to therapy or counseling. I would not only suggest he does that because there are clearly some issues here, but I would also suggest you may need to do the same. Because I don't know how much of this behavior you've been exposed to the point where this is just a regular thing to you. This is so familiar to you to the point where you don't feel scared. When I actually read that, I was like, what? I thought she was going to say, I feel scared. But she's like, no, I don't feel scared. This is familiar to me. I know I have some anger issues as well. And I can kind of understand where the empathy stems from, because you've gone through a similar thing and maybe you did lash out, but now you have a better way to, release that outlet, release your anger as you should. Whether you're a man or a woman, you can feel anger. It's fine to be angry. Anger is not the problem. It's just how you release that anger. And releasing it in a practical way is what I'm advocating for. So I understand where the empathy may stand for. Maybe you did release your anger by breaking stuff or throwing down walls. So you kind of understand your partner here in a bit. However, he needs to know he can't just be doing that. Especially if you guys are discussing marriage, kids. Kids are going to do some messy stuff. Kids do dumb and messy stuff. They don't know what to do. They're going to break your stuff. They're going to mess up the house. They're going to do all of that. That comes with being a child because they don't know any better. And sometimes they may know better and they just want to be spiteful, because kids can be mean. All right? They may know better, but they still want to be spiteful. So how's he going to result to disciplining the kids? Beating them up? Heck no. Come on. It's like something needs to be done about this. And I think both of you actually need to go to therapy. He needs to go to counseling for his anger issues, obviously, and to figure out a better outlet as to how he can release his emotion. And you need to go into counseling as to why you think this behavior is acceptable, because I don't think it is. I don't know. I don't think it is, but I do think that, therapy is the best way to go. But if your partner does not want to change and they're not willing to change, they're not willing to compromise in any sort of way, shape, or form, the best option is always to leave and find another partner. But yeah, that is my advice on this. And we're going to jump to the second story of the episode. All right, so we are back with the second story, and the title is, How Do I Start Moving On? When Does It Get Better? I'm a 24-year-old woman, and I've gotten into a relationship on my 21st birthday with this guy, a 24-year-old man, who is now my ex. And it was the most wonderful relationship ever. He helped me with everything. Literally, my mental health was like 100 times better. Every time I call, he'll answer in seconds. Whether there was an emergency, he'll be there. Whenever I just need someone to call or talk to about my day, he would be that person. I'd do anything for him, and I still would if he'd call. Anytime he needed anything, even a simple hug, I'll drive to him, which takes an hour, and still show up. Sleep by his house to make sure he was good, full on food, and calm. Literally my best friend and lover in one. Ooh, that's wonderful. We talk about wedding, marriages, and potentially moving in together. Hell, he even picked out our baby names and told me how adorable they'll be since we look perfect together. Last time we saw each other, we were on vacation before going to our home countries to visit family. I never cried so hard leaving someone because I had a strange feeling it would have been my last time seeing him. Oh my gosh, I hope he hasn't passed away. Okay. I remember crying so hard, and he said, "Baby, it's all right. We have a lifetime together. 2 weeks has nothing on us." Now, this is where it gets crazy. We'll talk every day, even during this time when we were apart. And out of the blue, he just randomly blocks me without any explanation. I know this is insane, but I wish I can know more about why. There was no argument, no fighting. It was all, "I miss you, I love you, I can't wait to be with you forever. To make you my wife would be the only thing I want." The day he blocked me was the day of my flight, flying back to America after visiting my family. And I tell you, I checked my phone to see myself blocked. I literally thought he had been kidnapped. I couldn't stop freaking out, calling his family to make sure he was all right. His father was even confused. I almost even missed my return flight because it was emotionally draining and traumatizing. I've never been the type to cheat, and he wasn't either. I don't know how to move forward. It's been since August 2022. Every person I've tried to get myself into a relationship with or even hook up with, I just see his face or know how I should get treated, since he literally opened doors for me, flowers, and was the perfect gentleman. Even therapy isn't working at this point. My friends don't know what to do, and my poor mother, bless her, she's trying her hardest to keep me moving, but don't know how. How do I move on from this? I'm young enough to know that love can come again, but how do I stop feeling like this? Wow. We'll be back with our advice after this break. Wow, we are back. I don't know what to say, other than I might need a few contexts. It's like, so, I'm speechless. So you were in this relationship with this guy she's 24 now, so that was when she was 21, so approximately for 3 years. Perfect. He did everything. He was your shoulder to cry on. You could be yourself. You did the same for him. You guys talked marriage, moving in together, proposed, blah, 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 blah. And when you went on vacation, you talked during your vacation. You still kept in that communication. But when you came back, he blocked you on everything and just seemed as if you didn't exist. I don't know what to say. But there's a question that keeps coming to my mind, and I feel so bad. But I have a simple question. Is your partner African or of African descent, straight from the motherland? And there's a reason why I say this. Okay, there's a reason why, before people get into the comments, all right? Because African men have the tendency to love bomb you when they're about to break up with you. It's a wild thing. Is this a generalization? Yes, it's definitely a generalization. Do every single one of them do it? No, Africa's a continent. Okay, there are multiple countries, but I don't know why it's like some men there in some of those countries are just like, they will love bomb you, and the next day excommunicate you on every single thing. And to be quite honest, it is not your fault. It is not your fault. I think some of it has to do with cultural stuff. They don't want to quote unquote hurt you, and they kind of don't want to have that direct communication and conversation with you as to how the relationship is not working out for them. So they'll just keep love bombing you till they find a better one and just leave. But I don't know. That was the one question that just kept coming into my mind. Like, is this guy West African or maybe even Central African? Because those two regions, they do that the most. But yeah, very interesting story, girl. And I'm so sorry you had to go through this. I'm I'm really sorry you have to go through this. But to start moving on, you need to focus. You just need to focus on the stuff that you like and the stuff that you did before he got into your life. Even though the relationship did not work out, now at least you know what you value in a partnership. You value a man who's going to give you flowers, who's going to open the door for you, who's going to be there when you call them just to talk about your day. You value all those little simple stuff. Well, not simple, but those are the stuff you value in a relationship, and those are the type of stuff you want your partner to have. So now that you go out into the dating scene, instead of trying to hold on to this image of your ex-boyfriend, who, in your words, is perfect, but it's just like, how perfect can you be if you're going to block someone on every single site and not even let them know what's happening? But anyways, just my take on that. But if you're going to hold on to this image, like, write down his good qualities and look for that in your next partner. Don't hold them on too high of a standard. So, like, obviously for you, holding the door for you and giving you flowers and calling you, or maybe even if they don't answer the phone as soon as you call, but they immediately call you back, so, maybe that would be like a good thing for you. But like, don't think of, I am unlovable, no one is going to love me, this was the best thing ever. It's not. There was obviously something in the relationship he lacked, but was a coward and couldn't come forward and tell you that he needed this. So don't even worry your pretty head about this. Now that you know what you like in a relationship, and you know how you want your partner to present, just have a list for that. So like, if a man on the first date opens the door for you or gives you flowers, like stuff like that. So just have that template from your previous relationship as to how you want your future partner to show up in your life, and just try to connect with people based on that. And it will be hurtful, and it might take some time, because it really does seem as though for you this was the most perfect relationship ever, but it seems as though for him it wasn't. We don't know what that reason was. Was he just a coward and he couldn't tell you how he truly felt? Maybe. Did he meet some other girl? Probably. I don't know. We don't know. But yeah, we don't know, but this is about you. So one of the best ways to move on is just, you need to distract yourself. You need to do stuff that you like. Try not to do activities that the both of you guys did together. Try to do stuff that you really enjoy, or try to take on a new hobby. Something that you've always wanted to do but could never quite find the time. Try to take on those hobbies to kind of distract you, and still try to put yourself out there in the dating scene. This is not your fault. To be quite honest, someone who is going to ghost you, pretend as if you don't exist, pretend as if you were never a part of their life, them doing that is not your fault. You need to look internally. Like you said, he did some stuff for you and you reciprocated. So it seems as though the relationship was equal. But for some reason, he just went cold turkey. Some men do that. All right? So, and don't bother yourself with that. Like I tell you, ladies, it's better to just focus on you, focus on your likes, focus on your dislike, and try to find out what is fulfilling in this world. So now, from this relationship, you have a template of the type of man of how you want to be treated in a relationship, which is great. Some people don't even have that, okay? So, one check for you. You have a template as to how you want your partner to treat you in a relationship. Now, try to, still try to go on dates. So try new hobbies, preferably hobbies you guys didn't do together, and slowly just involve your friends, involve your family. It's still going to hurt because this was an impactful relationship. This might be, some people say a karmic relationship or whatever. This might be a karmic relationship. The type of relationship that teaches you a new thing or that helps you grow. It's okay. It's all right. Not everyone comes in your life to stay forever. So just focus on you. Try to talk to your family, talk to your friends, talk to your support network. Still try to go to therapy. I know you said therapy does not work, but it does. And therapy is the type of stuff, it takes time. You don't just go to one session and, you're all better. You're not going to be cured by magically going to therapy on one session. You need multiple sessions. And sometimes, on some days, you might not even feel like talking. And it seems like as if though you're stepping back, but it still works. The trajectory to life is not direct. It twists and turns, waves and curves, all of that comes along with life. So just focus on yourself. Still try to put yourself out there if you want to date. But if you don't want to date, you just want to take a year to just figure out who you are, figure out how you want to be your own woman, that's also fine. All right, but don't try to hold on to this image of your boyfriend as the perfect gentleman. No one will ever fit those shoes. There is someone who's going to fit those shoes, and who might even do it way better than the way he did, and who's not going to leave you and excommunicate you without giving you a warning or tell you what's up. So just keep that in mind and go out there, and don't be afraid to put yourself out there. I know stuff like this can really make people build up walls and not want to put themselves out there and not want to come into the world with an open heart. But if everyone is walking around with walls and bruises around, it makes it very difficult for you to actually find that partner who's out there for you. As I've told you guys before, when you build walls around yourself, no one can come in, so you're not going to get hurt. But the person who's also out there for you, who's looking for you, is not going to be able to come in as well. So take your time. Life, it may seem as though time is limited, but really, if you've ever been in this type of situation where you just don't know what's up and you've been blocked everywhere, just take your time, focus on yourself, try to do stuff that you like, try to partake in new hobbies you've always wanted to do but never could quite find the time. Confide in your support system, confide in your family, confide in your friends, and use your relationship as what to look for in a partner and what not to look for in a partner, in your next partner, and just go along with that. Of course, some people are jerks out here and you will still meet people who are bad, but don't completely close yourself off to the world, because I feel as though there are a lot of people around the world right now who are so closed off, and that's why we're so lonely, because we're not communicating with one another. We're not connecting. Everyone is closed off because they've been hurt and they've been bruised. Completely understandable. I'm not saying I'm definitely not trying to tell you how you should and should not feel. I completely understand. It is valid for you to want to shield yourself off from the world when you're hurt and you're bruised. But the thing about doing that is you're not gonna you're not allowing anyone to come in. You're not gonna allow those people who really want the best for you, who want you to succeed, and who want to be in your presence to come in, because they can't see you beyond the walls. That's also why I advocate for boundaries. Like, state your boundaries. Don't be afraid to say it. I know for some girls, we are told to just be quiet, try to suck it up, but as soon as something happens in your life that you don't like in a partner, state it immediately, right then and there. You don't have to yell at them, but you just, come with an open heart. This is what I value, and I don't like it when you did this, or like I didn't feel good when this action was done, and try to be logical and try to, state exactly what you mean. And if they're just going to be passive aggressive or dismiss you, that's how you know that's not the partner for you. And it doesn't mean that you are a bad person. It just means that they're not the right fit, and you need to go someone else, to someone who is going to understand you and who is going to be the right fit. Oh my gosh. I felt so sad listening to this, but I truly hope for the best for you. And don't be afraid to put yourself out there. When you're ready. If you need to take a year or 2 or 5, by all means do that, but don't be afraid to put yourself out there. I know it's hard. I know it's the harsh world. It's a harsh world. People are out for self, but there are people out there who really will want to be able to be with you, to create with you, and for all of you guys to succeed together. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. And what did you think of those 2 stories? They were very interesting. The first and the second one. The second one, I felt so much pain, because I can't even imagine someone just blocking you on everything and you thinking everything is well. Because at least if he told you something was bad, okay, so he blocked me because of XYZ or 1, 2, 3. But you're thinking everything is good and they just block you, excommunicate you with no warning. I don't even know how that feels. But yeah, my heart goes out to you. My heart goes out to the person who wrote this in, and to anyone who's feeling this way. But yeah, so please let us know what you thought of this episode in the comment section of our YouTube video. Or if you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, then please let us know what you thought of this episode in the review. Don't forget to like this episode, and please subscribe wherever you're watching this. And another thing, we get our stories on our Gmail account, which is kitchentableadvice@gmail.com. So don't be afraid to submit your stories there, and maybe your story will be featured on our next episode. We love hearing from you. We love reading your comments, and we love interacting with you. All right, so that is it, and we'll see you next Sunday. Bye.